Shanti. I again welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. Anilendu Pramanik. We deeply appreciate your gracious presence and willingness to share your valuable insights with us. Thank you, sir. I would like to extend a special welcome and heartfelt gratitude to Muhammad Tayyib Alam, sir, who has been an instrumental support in organizing these lecture series. We are grateful for your assistance, sir, in making this program forward, and we look forward to a continued support and guidance in this initiative. I now respectfully request Muhammad Tayyab Alam sir to please introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Anilendu Pramanik. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suman. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Anilendu Parmanik ji is an assistant professor in the Department of Sports Sciences and Medicine, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Punjab. Sir's research area involves exploring sports and exercise physiology, biomechanics, and ergonomics. Sir is a PhD. Sir is having PhD from Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Science, DRDO, Delhi, and also served various sectors, including Indian Agriculture Research Institute, Manav Rachna International University, and a medical college at Mangaluru. Sir was the recipient of International Travel Award from DST India to share the Indian Army's load carriage stress physiology at World Congress of Biomechanics 2014 at Boston University, USA, and also bagged several best conference presentation awards at national and international levels. Sir has numerous publications with international and national repute in the field of military economics, yoga science, sports sciences, and molecular biology. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation for the weekly Friday webinar, which is quite popular in social media. In fact, the journey of Friday webinar has started since 2nd October 2020. Since then, we are inviting eminent experts from diverse fields for this webinar, and the credit, in fact, the credit doesn't goes to me. The credit goes to Dr. Isurvi Vasavari sir, Director Murarji Dutta Institute of Yoga, and the team. With these few words, now I would like to invite our today's esteemed guest, Dr. Anilendu Parmanik ji, for today's lecture on the topic Advancement in Physiology in the 21st Century, Emerging Areas of Research and Innovative Application in the Healthcare and Medicine. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Muhammad Tayyab Alam, for these kind words. So, before presenting my topic, first, I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ishwar Basavreddy sir, who is the director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, which is under the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. I should appreciate him in a numerous way that towards his initiative on taking the pivotal role or to promote and development of this yoga across the globe. And I should also thank his team like Dr. Suman Rathore ma'am, who has taken the initiative of arranging all these lectures. And it is surprising that you are doing this since the COVID era, October 2020. So really, that is commendable work you are doing. So now, on the occasion of Good Friday, as well as today is the World Health Day and the eve of World Sports Day, I would like to share my presentation. And I would also like to thank our communication and documentation officer, Mohammad Tayeb Alam, who has taken the initiative to arrange all these logistics purpose and in a good way, like we are presenting here. So I hope my presentation is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
So now in the presentation mode, are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
So today I will be talking about the advancement in physiology in the 21st century, the emerging area of research and innovative application in healthcare and medicine. Already my information has been introduced, so I am not going to talk about this detail. So as we know that today is the World Health Day, which has been celebrated each year by World Health Organization, as well as the picture you can see in the right hand side, that is the Good Friday, where we basically commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And also the yesterday, the eve was International Day of Sports for Development and Peace. And the theme of this World Sports Day was scoring for people and for this planet. Okay, so basically we know that physiology means the normal functioning of the human body. So here in this presentation, we will see that how physiological technologies and measurement evaluation has been emerged, and how we can use it, or how we can implement it in our today's research, or in the medical science, or in the healthcare system. So I would like to introduce myself that previously my area of expertise was biomechanics and military ergonomics and physiology, which was my pre-PhD and PhD work. Then now my current work areas involves sports and exercise physiology, as well as sports biomechanics and molecular biology. These are all the branches of human physiology. So basically, I am a physiologist. I am working all these area now. So before going to detail about that advancement in 21st century's physiology, first we need to understand that what do you mean by the physiology, sports science. So the sports science is a study of the relationship between sports and human body with the interaction of various technologies. So the major questions of the sports sciences are how sports and physical activity enhances the health, and how it will help to achieve the medal, or that is called as performance, or how the healthy human body works during the exercise. So basically nowadays we are talking about the holistic approach, or we are talking about the overall fitness, that is called as wellness. So we are talking about all these things: wellness, holistic approach, what should be the approach, and how we can be happy, that is called as wellness of the human being. So basically we are doing in the part of sports science. So sports science have various branches like sports medicine, physiotherapy, rehab, strength and conditioning, nutrition, biomechanics, psychology. And nowadays the two sciences already added, one is the yoga therapy and one another is the pain management and recovery. So my current research work involves the biomechanical work, where I am observing some in-step kicking biomechanics performance in the footballers, and also the biomechanical work of the badminton smash, as well as the biomechanical load during the fast bowling, as well as the responses of tibial acceleration and kinetic variables during running. I also do research work in the sports physiology, where I am working to improve the sports specific performance by optimizing the training schedules of athletes, as well as we evaluate the effect of foreign substances on athlete physiology. We do the PBMC culture, as you can see here. We collect the blood and then we separate the serum, and from the serum we again centrifuge it to do the PBMC culture, and we see what are the biomarker expression like macrophages, T cell, neutrophil. We are seeing all these at the molecular level, and we also see the physiological changes parallel. So the main research topic in the sports sciences is looking like this network structure, as you can see. So some people do the science in the skeletal muscles, some they are working in the kinematics, some they are working in the altitude, some people working in the hypoxia effect, some people they are doing only on the anthropometry. So it is a network system. Okay. But in this network system or in this research area, we basically use the different technology. So nowadays we use the wearable technology, means we are transforming our evaluation through the wearable technology. Why? Because it is a non-contact, and it is also non-invasive and low cost and portable. That's why we use the wearable technology. So as you can see here, so there are various wearable systems are available. So the wearable systems are like some patches. Okay, nowadays we all use the smart watches, and in that smart watches we can see how many steps we have gone. Okay, depending upon that, some researches are coming that if you cover 10,000 steps, that means you have expended that this much of calorie. Okay, so these are the technology of 21st century's technology we are using. So this researches is going on in a vigorous way nowadays. So the different non-invasive wearables of still are available, which basically measures the glucose variability, as well as some real-time monitoring also that is performing through these wearable technologies. Now, the main question is that in that wearable technology, what should be the characteristics? So, can we answer that if we adapt a wearable technology, then how many characteristics or how it can develop the or how it can gives the data of the human being? So the answer is the wearable technology should be on board and configurable precision sensor. The sensor should support a low noise, high fidelity sensing circuit for detecting the biofeedback signals. The wearable sensor should have the inertial moment unit, that is having the magnetometer, gyroscope, and accelerometer, which is having the degree of freedom of 9. And this wearable sensor should have the dual mode communication. So dual mode means it can get the data from the human body, as well as it can send the data to the destination computer or the PC. So that wearable sensor should have the high transmission range. That is, if we are taking the wearable data from the wearable technology, then that wearable sensor should work on a high transmission rate. Otherwise, the real-time data we will not get, and the data delay will be there, and due to the delay of the data, we can lose some data of the human body. And it should have the rechargeable battery like mobile we are using. So nowadays we can see that which mobile have the highest means more battery life. Depending upon that, we purchase the mobile. So the wearable sensor should have possess this rechargeable battery technology, which is having more battery that can be accepted by the audience, or that can be accepted by the users. So these are the important characteristics should have with the wearable technology. Now, wireless and non-invasive measurements in the sports sciences. How these wearable sensors we can use in the sports sciences. So basically, being a physiologist, sorry, we are doing, being a physiologist, we are doing different kind of series of work. We monitor the players. Basically, we need to monitor the players for their performance enhancement. For the selection of the players from a big population, we assign some test, and depending upon some cutoff mark, we select the players, being a physiologist, in the physiological point of view or physiological values. As well as those who are getting injury, for them we are doing that different kind of test, and we see how much injury is there, and then we send them to the rehab. So various works we do. Basically, we do the monitoring of the health status of the athlete. Under that, we assess the hydration status. We measure the athlete core body temperature. We athlete's arterial blood oxygenation, and measure the quality and quantity of sleep. And these monitoring, we also monitor the training, where the alteration of autonomic nervous system occurs or not, or we sometimes assess the neuromuscular fatigue. We assess the body composition, movement velocity, and distance travel. So in all these aspects, how we can use the sensors, or how we can use the advancement of physiology. So basically, we use the commonly or generally, we use the watch. So as you can see here, they are the result of the different watches like Polar V800 watch, Microsoft Band watch, Fitbit. You know all these names, Fitbit watch. Okay, so Garmin watch. All these watches are available in the market, and these are the research grade technologies. And through these technologies, we assess the accelerometer. Sometimes we assess the GPS. Sometimes we assess the PPG, that is photoplethysmography. I will be discussing about this in detail. So depending upon to monitor all these health status, we generally use the watch. And as you can see, these watches are the wrist-worn devices, which designed to monitor the parameters related to the training and health of the athletes. Then also, we use the clothing-based wearable sensors. So basically, that designed to monitor the parameters related to the training and the health of the athletes. So number one, we use the wrist-worn watches, and number two, we use the cloth or suit. And finally, we use some types of ear devices and other wearables like skin and patches, as well as IMU sensor, which designed to monitor the parameters related to the training and health of the athletes. So here is an impression of the PPG sensor. As you can see, this is a 21st century technology. As you can see here, we use that, you people know, during the COVID time, we have used the oxygen saturation device. Through that, we sometimes measure that oxygen saturation should be 98 to 100%. So how it works, that is the science, that is the physiology I am bringing to you. So suppose in this finger, you have the blood vessels and some light, LED light, which emits through the skin, and when it goes to the blood vessels, so every small blood vessels, they are capable of sensing the systole as well as diastole. And when it sends the systole and diastole, that is being captured by the photodiode, which is present in the watch. So when you will get the graph of this systole and diastole, this is the graphical representation of the systole and diastole. So it has been observed that during the stress, so our body responded differently, or alternatively, they have some different changes occur within our body. And that thing we can track through this PPG sensor. So in market, for the athletic performance monitoring, there are a number of brand that is available. So the most popular band is Polar Band. Also, there are some Hoop, SAT2 band, Move band. All these have the same phenomenon that already I have discussed, which basically measures the pulse wave. And there are some other commercially available sensors. As you can see, some temperature sensors are available. Some sensors are available which basically senses the blood pressure. Some sensors are available which basically measures the ECG. So this is the way. As you can see in the right side of the picture, some stretchable nanomaterial are being developed. So that is in the research nowadays. Polymers are there, liquid metals are there, unconventional layouts are there, meshes are there. Then some island bridges are there. Then some stretchable textiles are there, which works in the same manner. Basically, they take the pulse wave and they measures the pulse wave depending upon the graphical changes. How much is the amplitude? How much is the lagging phase? How much is the 50% of recovery? All these things, these parameters, physiological parameters, they evaluate. As well as nowadays, people are using the hybrid mode sensors. That means it will have the PPG, it will have the EMG, it will have the IMU, all these together. Basically, we need all these together to assess all the aspects of the human body. So now you can see another physiological part of the sensor, which is basically we measure through the watch sometimes, that is called as the electrodermal activity. So electrodermal activity, the physiology is here, the graphical representation. Whenever it will sense our body, that is physiology. Electrodermal activity is the basic science is it reflects the activity of the sympathetic nervous system and can be measured through the electrical changes of the conductance of the skin. So when the electrical changes occurs, or when a stimulus comes to the body, then the electrical changes of the conductance, the graphical representation is like that. So here the lag phase is there, recovery is there, amplitude is there. Okay, so all these things can be sensed by a new sensor, that is Empatica E4, or you know about the Fitbit watch, the Fitbit Sense watch. Through that basically sense the stress, or that listen your stress. how much you are stressed out, that can be sensed by the this type of wearable sensors. Next, you people know about that how much work or how much activity we should do in a day. Basically, we are nowadays calorie conscious. The Western people, they are very much calorie conscious. If you go to the Western country, you can see that whatever the food they take in that packaged food, the calorie is been written on that packaged food. Basically, the company has been instructed in such a way that you have to show the calorie so that how much that person will consume, he will get that perfect, that same calorie. Why it is required? Basically, the Western people, they are very concerned about their calorific value throughout the day. So we know about basal metabolic rate. So apart from the basal metabolic rate, whatever the activity we need to do, we need to use the energy of our body. We people know. So for women and for men, it is different. So from this formula, you can also know how much calorie you need. So if you are very active, you can multiply with this activity factor, and you can got to know according to your weight, height, and age that this much calorie you will require. So this is a example of mathematical formula, but accurately when we measure the calorie, we use the calorimeter. So this has been used in the 19th century. So previously animal was used through the direct calorimetry as well as indirect calorimetry, and then human experiment also done in the 19th century as well as in the 20th century for the metabolic evaluation. And these are the picture of the metabolic chart. You can see how difficult it was during that time. But nowadays it is very easy in the advancement, during the advancement of the science, people are using the open circuit, indirect, as well as portable calorimeter. So these are the picture of the machines or that tools by which we can do the analysis of calorie in the open circuit way, indirect way, as well as portable way. So this is the 21st century's technology, and with the help of the technologies, what people know. So this is the representation of the report. People got to know about the metabolism, how much metabolism they are doing in a day. They know about the caloric balance. They know their resting heart rate. They know their BMI, and depending upon that, whenever they do any type of exercise, high intensity exercise, they got to know where they stays or how much fitness they have. So this is the way, as you can see in the left picture, here they know about their recovery, they know about their cardio strength, they know about their fitness level, they know about their target workout zones. But still the development of this high throughput technology, we have some challenges. So these are the challenges. I am not going to detail about all these challenges. Next, we use the heart rate variability. So basically, heart rate variability, basically it is a mathematical integration of the RR interval. So whenever we use some watch, wearable watch, from there we got to know about high heart rate variability that reflects the capability of the autonomic nervous system to adapt the stressor is a indicative of good health and linked to the performance of the executive function. And whenever the heart rate variability reduces, is the disadvantageous, and it signifies the poor autonomic nervous system adaptability and has been found to be associated with fatigue, stress, and overtraining. So previously, people used to use the ECG to report the heart rate variability, and it was expensive. It was involved considerable participants to the researcher burden, and sometimes it was discomfortable for the patient. Then in the market, there are so many watches has come, and depending upon these watches, we can see, as you can see here, this one, the Polar H10 is almost green. So green and yellow. So it is capable of taking all the parameter proper way. So these are the different pictorial diagram of the heart rate variability devices, and depending upon the different criteria, this researches has been done that which heart rate variability instrument can be used. And in the heart rate variability, we see these are the physiological parameters, and depend upon these parameters, we analyze that how the heart rate variability can impact the autonomic nervous system. So in our laboratory, we have done work on the sports person. So what we did, we have taken some combat players like judo players, and we have asked them that how you can improve your performances. So they have told, we are doing some sport specific training. If we improve our sport specific training, then we can improve our performance. So we have observed that what type of training they do. So basically they are combat, that means they are fighting type of game they are performing. So they are doing some anaerobic activity, or they are training, they do the training of the anaerobic activity. So we have designed their training as a anaerobic, aerobic, and strength. So we have designed their training all of the domain, aerobic, anaerobic, and strength. And then we have observed their recovery pattern through the heart rate variability. Then we have observed a commendable result. So we have observed that their anaerobic capacity, or their anaerobic capacity, their stress tolerance, all has been increased. Okay, so this paper has been published in the Comparative Exercise Physiology recently. As well as we have observed the PBMC, peripheral blood mononuclear cell. We have taken their blood serum, and then we have observed the exercise, after exercise muscle damage parameter, as well as we have observed the phagocytotic activity of the cell. We have observed the microarray of different pro-inflammatory and inflammatory markers. So we have got a positive result of this training. Next, as you can see, we previously in the late 19th century or mid 20th century, people used to use the EEG, that is electroencephalogram. Now to measure the electroencephalogram, which is a electrical activity of the brain, where we basically target this alpha, beta, delta, and theta wave in sleep or in different activity. It was very difficult during that time, because the experimental procedure was very long. Then we have to ask them to sleep, or we have to simulate their sleep pattern. We have to bring them in the laboratory. So it was very difficult. So then people then used to think that how we can resolve that problem. Then nowadays, it is not that it is a work of 2 year or 3 year or 10 year. So people did the research from the since last 200 years, and nowadays they have developed some instrument. As you can see, there is a portable solutions are there. People use the functional near infrared spectroscopy with EEG. So they have observed that this allows the assessment of electrical as well as the hemodynamic activity of the brain, which is non-invasive and which is low cost and portable. So how they use it in the medical science? They are doing the online brain mapping. They are integrating these things with the gait disorder investigation. Gait means the walking pattern, as well as they are using it in the science of control command generation for assistive device control, rehab, and wheelchair control. So this is the way they are using this EEG and FNRIS application. Next, as
So
I told,
please have some water.
Yeah. Next, as I told earlier, so people are doing the research on the human movement as well as sports movement. So in that experiment, people used to use the retroreflective marker, and they put the retroreflective marker in the different bony part or anatomical joint of the human body, as you can see here. So this is the way we need to use to prepare the subject. Even I have done the research on this biomechanics. So I have used the same way that gait marker. We need to use the preparation of the subject was a very lengthy process, and our laboratory was looking like that 6 camera based 3D motion analysis laboratory, where we need to ask the participants to walk with the experimental condition, and then we took all the data and then we analyze the data, which actually takes a big time, huge time. So that was the burden of the research in the gait analysis. Then people think that how we can resolve that thing, and they have coming to the solution. So nowadays, what people have done, people have made the virtual environment, as you can see in the below picture. So they have made a virtual environment, and they have made a treadmill, and on that treadmill, they ask the subject to walk through the treadmill in the real-time situation. Suppose they are walking in the road, or they are walking in the office, or they are military, they are walking in the various terrains. Okay, and they used that IMU, what I am going to tell you, IMU, which is inertial moment unit sensor, as well as EMG, that is electromyography, which gives the solution of this big burden on the 19th and 20th century. So nowadays, people are using the EMG as well as IMU. So people have done the research, and they have seen that if we see only EMU, then what will happen? So then they have observed that if we see only the angular parameter, kinetics and kinematics, then we are not getting the information of the body's muscular activity. Or if people see only the muscular activity, they were not able to see the angular, kinematic, and kinetic variables. So they have integrated, or they have made such type of sensor which can take parallelly the EMG activity as well as the biomechanical activity. That means angular variations as well as the acceleration, kinetic like force, how much force they are getting or generating. All these information we can get. So some company which is named as Delsys, they have given the solution of this IMU and EMG. Now they are doing some commitment on the research. So they are doing the they are using the very deep electromyographic technology for extracting information from the EMG signals. They are doing the reassessment to widely accept the motor neuron control notions. They are using this technology in the movement disorder monitoring. They are using this technology to develop the assistive technologies, and they are doing this research in a vigorous way to make the guidelines or make the database of these EMG and IMU sensors. So now the next question is, so what actually overall we are getting? So if we see the overall scenario, so for fault detection, we can use the advancement technology in the physiology like accelerometer, gyroscope, and magnetometer. For activity recognition, we can use the accelerometer, gyroscope, and magnetometer. For fitness tracking, we already know the watch-based wrist own or vest own things we can use. For sleep monitoring, we can also use the EEG, FNRIS, and all. For emotion recognition, we can use the EEG, FNRIS, electrodermal activity, PPG, photoplethysmography. These type of physiological technologies we can use. So these are the technology we can use for different type of human stress identification, or we can say different type of human pathophysiology evaluation. Now, how the question is being a or how we can use, or you people can use this technology in your domain. So we have observed, and it is evident that sports injury is the type of reduction of the performance due to sudden increase in the intensity of the duration or volume of the physical activity, or it's sometimes due to the poor conditioning, or it's sometimes the insufficient sports specific training, or they are the factor of poor training techniques, or it's sometimes the inappropriate equipment for the sports. So these are the causes of the sports injury, and there are various causes like this is the particular causes. There are various causes like anatomy. These are the hard playing surface, sometimes decreased musculotendinous flexibility. Okay, so we can consider this poor conditioning, insufficient sports specific training, poor training techniques as a central factor, and the anatomical part, the environmental part, or the muscular part we can consider as a peripheral factors. So these are the injury we have understood in our field or your field. So I am going to amalgamate your field and our field. So how this sports injury can be prevented? So this prevention can be done proper training, increase training gradually, hydration, proper cool down, proper warm-ups. Now numerous factors are there. Okay, rest, pre-session physical training, and there are some methodological way. Okay, so these are the way we can do the rehab, or we can reduce the injury of the sports. So our question is, can we reduce the sports injury through the yoga? So I have asked this question, and the answer is yes. There are some researches available through yoga, or the effect of yoga is very helpful in the prevention of the sports injury. So I have observed some recent articles, and there we have observed that mitigating the antecedents of sports related injury through yoga. So where some 31 soccer player they have recruited, and they have intervened by different adaptation protocol, and when they have used these yoga protocol or yoga packages they have observed there was a commendable result they have seen. So participants experiencing greater recovery from injury or less stress and general well-being. This is a study of the Stanford University. Same type of researches are coming. They have seen the qualitative study of yoga for young adults in the school sports, and they have observed the overall restorative effect, relief of pain and other physical ailments, higher mobility and flexibility, improved posture, and improved sleep. So these are the things yoga can help in the sports domain. So some researches are still going on that different type of injury like shoulder injury and hamstring injury. So shoulder injury, whom they will get the shoulder injury, those who are involved in tennis, baseball, or hamstring injury like soccer, rugby, track player, field football player. So what type of yoga it can help them? So for shoulder injury, if the people use the Tadasana or the soccer, and the hamstring injury, if the people use the Setu Bandhanasana, okay. So these Salavasana, it can help them to improve their sports or reduce their sports injury. Same way, we have observed the ankle injury and knee injury. Some asanas are there and some evidences are there. It is also evident that different type of yoga that helps in the core muscle strength development. So the benefit of yoga is, we know it is studied very well in the Indian aspect, but the scientific things are going on, and we have to do more research on that thing. And whenever we will do this research on yoga and sports, we have to use the advancement of the physiological technologies. So till now, the well explored field, okay, so in the yoga research, we have observed that overall physiological well-being of yoga has been explored. Involvement of muscle with different yogic poses has been explored, and overall physiological well-being and reversal of clinical symptoms by yoga has been well explored. Something less explored fields are there, like sports specific effect of yogic packages are being going on. I have already given two examples. Differential effect of yoga on gender as well as age of the injured athletes, that is still going on. And also relation of yogic practices with degree of injury, that is less explored field, and that is going on till now. So the unexplored fields are evaluating optimum timing and magnitude of yoga interventions during rehabilitating sports injury among elite athletes that can be done in the future prospect, or effect of yogic practice on molecular signatures like epigenetic biomarker expressions. Okay, those who are altered or after injury, that can be explored. Okay, that can be done in the future way. Okay, effect of yogic practice on correlation and association based research can be done in the future days, as well as effect of yoga on the performance of the athlete during post injury comebacks, and its comparison with pre injury time points can be done in the future times. So we can say that the less explored field and the unexplored field can be the future prospect of our next time through the use of the modern technologies or advancement of the 21st century's technologies. So these are some research papers from our laboratory. Okay, so we are doing some work on the sports specific field. We are doing some work on the molecular biology, and these some papers are going on till we are doing. And lastly, I would like to thank all of you for listening this lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for presenting such an engaging lecture and such an insightful session. So we have received a few questions from our students. So the first one is, how can sports physiologists use their research findings to develop effective training programs for athletes and to help prevent injuries?
So can you repeat once?
Yes, sir. So the question is, how can sports physiologists use their research findings to develop effective training programs for athletes and to help prevent injuries?
Yeah. So first, these physiologists, what they can do.
Yes, sir. To
Whatever the,
prevent injuries for for athletes.
no, first I will talk about the how they can implement a training, and also they
Yeah,
can
right.
also observe the not to be the injured. Okay, these
Yes,
things.
sir.
So first you have to, first being a physiologist, we need to evaluate that what is the health status of the particular sports persons or the team game sports persons. So for that, what we can do, we can do the different type of autonomic test. We can do the physiological test, say for maximum oxygen consumption, or that particular sports, how much work done they are doing, how much heart rate they are expending. So all these things we can, first we can observe. Then we can observe, or we can design a training which can improve their all these parameter. Which parameter? Autonomic part, physiological part, means aerobic part, anaerobic part, autonomic part, all these different bodies domain. If they are improving, then we can say that this training is effective. Now, suppose if this training is effective, then we have to, in our domain, what we do, we ask these things to our coach that these things is very effective, you can implement it. And then the coaches, they can sometimes implement, and when they get different type of injury, then again we have to rethink that if they are implementing that, this causes some injury. So what are the injuries happening? Suppose some muscle tear or some sprain happen. So then again we have to think that training modification. So we modify that training, and then we again implement, and then we can get the result. So it's basically, it's a continuous process we do.
Okay. The other question, sir, which we have received from one of our viewers is, in what ways can sport physiology be used to improve the health and well-being of the general population beyond just athletes?
Yeah, beyond the athlete, it cannot be done, but for maintaining a good health, like uh, as a physiologist, every one of us should aware that how much our basal metabolic rate. So we have studied these things in our school days, that for a single day, our basal metabolic rate is 200 to 2500. So we have to aware about that, that whatever the food we are consuming, it should not go beyond that calorie. That, like whatever the sedentary activity we are doing. So the calorie can be utilized within that throughout the day. So if the calorie is more, then it will cause in a long term, it can cause different disease, or it can cause diabetes. All these systemic disorder it will develop within our body. So being a physiologist or being a normal awareness of the well-being of the human, we need to do some kind of activity throughout the day. So that activity may be yoga activity, that activity may be walking activity, or that activity may be different type of exercise activity. And how you people know means how we will know if we do not have any technology. So previously, those people, those who used to do some kind of activity, they used to produce more sweat. So that is the thing. So if you produce sweat at some extent, or if you ask your body to do any kind of activity, that means your body is well, or your wellness will be preserved.
Okay.
Like I am giving a simple example. Suppose if I ask myself, can I run 1 kilometer? So after 1 kilometer running, if my situation is like palpitating, I cannot breathe, so that means my body is not listening to me. So that means I am not maintaining my well-being. If I ask my body, can I run 1 kilometer with that pace? And if I do so, that means I am maintaining my wellness. This is the simple answer without using any technology, I can tell you.
Okay. Okay, sir. So this was it. So thank you so much, sir, for presenting such an insightful lecture, and I appreciate how your lecture elegantly celebrated both the International Day of Sports for Development and Peace, which was yesterday, and today's World Health Day. It was a beautiful amalgamation of physiology, sports sciences, medicine, and yoga. Thank you so much, sir. Your presentation effectively highlighted the interconnection between physical activity, health, while underscoring the crucial role of advancements in physiology in the present times and how relevant this is in the contemporary times. Thank you so much, sir. And I again thank you for graciously accepting our invite and taking the time out from your busy schedule for this session for our students. So
Thank
we
you
will
too.
now, thank you, sir. We will now conclude the session with Shanti Pat. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, please, Tayyab, sir, you were on mute.
I will mute. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I
Welcome,
also
sir.
would like to thank Tayyab, sir, for taking time out from his busy schedule for this lecture session. Thank you so much, sir.